Well, I'm joined today by Tom DiNardo, who's the president of Simplimatic Automation. Welcome, Tom. Nice to see you here at the Cloud9 Labs for Panasonic. Start by telling us a little bit about Simplimatic and the different types of products and offerings that you bring.
Simplimatic primarily is focused on conveyors, have been for a number of years, although recently we've expanded. We make all the conveyors to connect up your surface mount equipment, connecting conveyors, buffers, turn units, merges, loaders, unloaders.
Okay.
We also do a lot with traceability. We make a laser marker. We integrate a lot of different types of scanners, line scanners, and various barcode scanners that help collect data off the production.
Do you do that with partners, or do you do that?
We partner, sometimes with Cognic, sometimes with Microscan.
Okay.
And then we also have expanded into robotics most recently. So about 2-3 years ago, we became a FANUC preferred integrator, and we've expanded into robotics, mostly in the back end. So once you get beyond surface mount, you're starting to assemble the product or test the product. We do a lot of robotic applications in that area.
So that's into the box build, final assembly.
Correct.
Part of
all the way
factory.
through putting it in a box at the very end of the line.
Yeah, that's where the next revolution is coming. Really is at the back end of the factory. It's currently very labor intensive and lends itself to automation and robotics and that type of thing.
It does. Traditionally, the surface mount, the front end has gotten fairly standardized, but when you get in that back area, you run into a lot of different applications. It's hard to come up with hard-tooled, standard equipment. So what we do is we try to have a standard building block, a modular robotic cell, and then we tool it up for all the different applications. And we try where we can to keep it SMEMA compliant so that you can continue. But we can go above and beyond that and do completely custom cells when necessary.
Right. And in the examples we've got behind us, this is I see we've got some PanaSim instructions on the back here. How have you integrated with the PanaSim product?
Well, the biggest thing is the conveyors all have Ethernet, and we've written PLC code that allows us to integrate with the PanaSim software. And I go back a ways in the industry, and I remember a time when SMEMA didn't exist, and putting together two pieces of a conveyor was difficult. Everything was custom. We're kind of like that now in the software phase, and what I like about Panasonic's program is that they're really focused on trying to standardize, take a bunch of different vendors and standardize that kind of communication, which ultimately lead to Industry 4.0 and the Internet of Things. That's where I see a huge advantage of what they're doing here.
Yeah, they're definitely bringing in a certain level of connectivity and, as you say, doing the same job electronically that SMEMA did all these years ago.
Correct.
Okay. Now, moving over to the SMT line itself, you also have conveyors and things that work within the SMT line. Specifically, what benefits do you bring to that?
Well, now that we're connected to PanaSim, it really gives us the ability. Probably the low-hanging fruit, the most obvious, is product changeover. Right now, it's often done manually. If it's automated, you may have to walk up to each piece of equipment and change over. What this really allows us to do, not only an automated product changeover, but a progressive product changeover where one product can fall right behind the next, even down to perhaps a lot size one.
Wow.
And if you're doing a lot of changeover, that becomes very important. And until now, there wasn't really a lot of companies out there that had that level of software where they're communicating to all the pieces necessary. If they communicate to only their equipment, then you have these islands that are not being communicated to, and that stops the whole show. Panasonic's now integrated the whole line, and we've worked with them with the software so that they can tap in and control our width adjust and do the product changeover. That's the most obvious. And then, for example, in this application, that we've given them control over the conveyor, and they can stop and start the product. So here they're demonstrating a manual assembly operation, and they really don't want the product to index until the operator tells them that they're done, and they want to make sure that they've walked through the steps. So this gives them the remote control capability to be able to decide when the product transfers from one to another. And then there's the traceability. We've got a lot of hooks in the software that'll allow you to not only know where a product is, but what the serial number is on that product as it moves throughout the system, which gives you a lot of traceability on where your product is and when. And then finally, once you're connected to the equipment, I think there's a huge opportunity to collect data from the equipment for preventative maintenance purposes, to try to get ahead of the PM schedules to make sure that before a product breaks, you've actually repaired it.
So basically, Simplimatic would you'd measure the number of cycles it goes through, and compare that to the suggested life cycle of different motors or cogs or whatever within the system, and be able to predict when they're likely to fail.
Yeah, much like a printer.
Right.
When you print and it tells you, hey, you're going to run out of ink, or it's time to change the drum. We'd like to put those same kinds of things in the conveyor because we really want to stop. We don't want the conveyor to stop. We want to make sure repair. And typically, the types of things that may go wrong aren't very expensive. Much less expensive than waiting until it goes down and it creates a stoppage in production.
Right. So minimizing downtime, increasing traceability and reliability. So that's what it's all about.
And product changeover. Yep.
And product changeover. Great. Tom, thank you for the introduction, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.